You're listening to the smartest guys in marketing, the best show on the planet for client businesses to learn about traffic, funnels, sales, conversions, and marketing coolness. Chris and Taylor are the founders of Traffic and Funnels, a digital marketing consultancy helping you get paid clients from cold traffic daily. Now, here are your hosts, Chris and Taylor.
How's it going, fam? Welcome to the Smartest Guys in Marketing podcast, here with your hosts, Chris Evans, Welch.
What up?
The dark, cold, dreary land of Nashville. And I'm coming from the bright, shiny, warming up your soul, Charlotte, North Carolina.
All right, bro. I'm just gonna interrupt you there. Today we're talking about our greatest fear in business. We do have fears in business, contrary to popular belief. We're not impenetrable. This is gonna be a great waltz down memory lane for me and Chris. We're gonna be honest with you and talk to you about some of the things that, once you get to a certain place, Ray Dalio's book is really good at this because he talks about his principles, by the way. He talks about once you experience something in life, if you're smart, you write about it and you kind of package it up into a lesson. And then all of a sudden when catastrophes happen or you lose a lot of money or you stop seeing it as like a nature's out to kill me, and you just see it as like, oh, it's another one of those. Like I dealt with this back in, 2012. It's just another version of that. I can deal with it. So as you mature and progress, you go through these processes and cycles. Like for us, like there's very little that we are prone to freaking out about anymore because it's all happened to us. Like sued, check. Lost much money, check. Had not worked, check. Like, you know what I mean?
Bad employees, check.
Check. Employees stealing from you, check. Like we've gone through the gamut and we've learned lessons that, the goal is that you prevent mistakes of the same caliber and nature happening in the future. But at the end of the day, there are some things you can't control. You can't control the economy. You can't control whether Facebook kicks you off their platform or not. And those are things that you just have to be able to look at and be like, oh, this has happened before. I was fine. I'll be fine again. But there's one thing that we combat again and again. And to be honest, I think it's like probably we talk about it more than anything else. And that is not losing ourselves in the grind and in the hustle and staying grounded in why do we want what we want? What is it really for? When is enough enough?
Yeah.
And making sure that we're not, sacrificing everything that we've worked for, our families and our time with loved ones, to build a business that is so big that we don't even know what to do with it. And I think it's an interesting topic and one that you have a lot of insight on, and I can give a lot of insight that we should just break down.
Yeah. Can I read this quote?
Yeah.
In the hopes of reaching the moon, men fail to see the flowers that blossom at their feet.
Who said that?
Albert Schweitzer.
So good, dude.
Deep.
We just came off of a good little break, and actually now we have strategically, methodically, systematically put time in our schedules every month, every quarter, and every year to get good downtime. Just let our brains kind of recoup and recover. And we just got off one of those, and we were talking like, what is the point? Like, what are we actually reaching for? Because we don't ever want to be guilty of, we're reaching for the moon all the time and we skip over our whole lives. Like we skip over all of the good moments.
Yeah.
I was in my office this morning and I was just looking out the window and it's cold as F here, but it's beautiful, man. Like I live in a beautiful place and you live in a beautiful place. And it's like, there are all these things on a daily basis that we have the choice to stop and be grateful for. But most of the time I don't. It's because I'm trying to hit a certain quota. We're trying to get a certain amount of apps. And we're trying to do this and that. And it's like, man, probably our biggest concern on an ongoing basis is making sure we're actually grounded and we're not going crazy. And it's like money has this effect where you almost have to combat the thirst for more all the time. And the way you do that is, we've talked about this before, giving helps a lot. Making a difference besides just business. We give to shelters and we give to widows and we give to all these different places. But at the end of the day, like, you have to be rooted in like, what's next for you? What do you want? What's the point? Kind of rambling, but
no, it's good. Like you really, and if you're an entrepreneur, you're driven, you understand this. Because the very thing that drives you to success and gets you over the finish line is also the thing that can ruin your family. It can ruin your life. And I actually just saw a post about this the other day, a guy who very driven. He's so driven that he uses things to fulfill himself. And one being, he used to struggle with drugs and alcohol. And at some point, when you just go, and that thing doesn't fulfill you anymore, you're always looking for something else. And he went back to drugs and alcohol. High achiever. And I think you need healthy attachments to keep you grounded, really to make this quote applicable for you. And for us, like you just said, that is things like putting on our calendar times to force ourselves to stop, look around at what is important, how we're actually affecting other people's lives. Because just to be honest, and this is not a haughty statement, but we have everything we need. You know, like, we're not in survival mode. We have all the money we need. And so at this point in our lives, it's like, okay, what is the point? Like, why are we doing what we're doing? And I think for us, at least, and I'd say for so many people, it's got to be something that affects other people's lives and changes other people's lives. Yep. And now that we have those attachments, it gives us something else and a reason why to stop and just look at what we're doing, assess what we're doing, and make sure that we're on track in every area of our lives. Because I don't think you're successful unless you're successful in all areas of your life. Like, you can't just be successful in business and not be a philanthropist or have a healthy family or a healthy marriage or a healthy relationship with your kids. I don't count you as a success. And so that's something that we're actually building out in our schedule to constantly be looking at and assessing where we're at. Do we have those attachments, you know, to where we're attached to those things, where we're giving, we're impacting other lives, our relationships that are really important to us are healthy. We're investing into those. Because if not, we won't stop. We will just run over everything. We will bust through every wall. And, you know, you talk about this all the time, Taylor. You talk about putting on the suit.
Yep.
You know, it's like you put on this armor, this thing that's like your weapon to drive your life, your business forward and have major accomplishments. But sometimes you have to recognize when to take that off and chill.
Dude, 100%. I'm reading a book right now called The Four. It's about the Four Horsemen: Amazon, Apple, Facebook, and Google. And there's a chapter in here where he's like talking about these companies, and, you know, Apple, for instance, recorded more profit in Q4 2016 than Amazon has made since its inception in like 1993. 1 quarter versus 20 years. Apple's the most profitable company in history ever. They have enough cash to buy full countries and continents. But he was talking about, in this example, he was talking about Steve Jobs and what a horrible person he was. And how, you know, if you look into Steve Jobs' history, is like the DNA proved that his daughter was his, and yet he testified in court that it wasn't. So he got out of alimony. And then he cheated on one of his stock recalls, and they got out of it. And it's just like he goes into detail about how, like, Steve Jobs wanted to dent the universe. And he's like, you know, the best way to dent the universe is like to be a freaking dad and take care of your family. Yeah. And so he's like, in my opinion, and he's taking heat for this, but he's like, in my opinion, Steve Jobs didn't dent the universe. He freaking failed because his family's a mess. And he gave us a better screen, but yeah, who cares? Someone else would have done that anyways. Yeah. And it's like, man, you just think about it. It doesn't feel good to achieve success in one area at the complete sacrifice and expense of every other area. Yeah. That's not a good feeling. And people idolize people like Jobs and people who are successful. And some of these guys are like, you know, they've sacrificed everything for success and it's not worth it. You shouldn't idolize them.
Yeah. He was probably a psychopath. I wonder if he took that test.
literal psychopath, like the dark triage test. But man, like, so what if you have $10 million in cash or $1 billion in cash if you've ruined the relationships that are most important to you? In fact, this is a topic that I put on our list to talk about, but it's called 1,000,000 compromises. You know, the heroes are not the people who sacrifice everything to achieve what they want. You know, the heroes are not the people who make compromises to achieve success.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not talking about compromises like you wake up early. All right, grow up, stop being a dumbass, and get out of bed. All right, that's not a compromise. That's you being lazy. Get out of bed, make the little choices, the sacrifices. I'm talking about compromising the big areas of your life that matter. You know, when I see people who are like, they've been through 3 divorces, it doesn't matter. They're not successful. They're just not, dude. It doesn't matter like what business they have. They're losers.
Yeah.
They haven't taken care of what's most important.
Yeah.
And so you're right on, dude, in that no success outside is justifying, you know, failure at home, failure in, you know, your spirituality, the different areas of your life that are just as important, but you're not paying attention to.
Yeah.
This is coming from 2 wealthy dudes. Like, we're not like, hey, you should sell your house and make tents for people and preach the gospel. That's not what we're saying. Like, look, we've achieved success and we haven't even done anything yet. Like, we're gonna build a $1 billion company. We're gonna have private jets. Like, we're gonna go there, but not at the expense of my wife.
Yeah.
Not at the expense of your kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and we're still in that process of learning that, you know, because we're continually growing. There's that tension of the drive and the desire to hit new heights and to impact more people, while also trying to figure out how to take care of our families on a continual basis and communicate and stay in connection with them. And it is not freaking easy, man. And if you see someone who has one or the other and they don't have it all, I don't know if I'd follow them. I don't know if I'd really listen to them. Maybe take some pieces, but man, that it's incredibly difficult, and it takes an intense amount of time and energy and effort and selflessness to actually accomplish that, because you have to be a selfless person,
Yeah,
to do that.
yeah, dude. Case in point, right here, man. Like, I was talking to somebody on the internet. Lo and behold, it's always on the internet where the crazies come out. This is like 3 years ago. This is like when I was just getting started, and we were talking about a kind of a famous marketer. All right, his name rhymes with Pan, and he's been divorced like 3 times. And I was like, man, I just don't really want to follow that. And this other person was like, yeah, but he's rich. It's like, dude, at the time I didn't understand, but now I understand. Like, money is so easy, dude. It is so easy. It's like you do the right things and you start making money. It's not hard. It's not difficult. It's not complicated. Money's easy. Getting to $100 million net worth, easy. Just, you need 15 years. Like, you need time to do the right thing over and over. What is not easy and what is actually commendable is achieving wealth in that status while maintaining the relationships in your life that matter, such as your spouse. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so I no longer respect like what you're saying. Like, dude, it's people hate on Gary Vee and stuff, but you got to give him one thing, is that, like, man, he's pretty honest about his marriage and his kids. And dude, they haven't left him. So he's like obviously taking care of them in some form or another. And he talks about how it matters to him. And he's not, you know, one of his secrets is, you know, when things are bad or happening in business, he references his family. That's his anchor. So it's like, whatever hate you have, like, I respect the man's ability to grind and also take care of the people that matter to him.
Yeah.
Does that mean, you know what I mean?
It's one of the hardest things to ever figure out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's easy just to be a success in business.
So easy.
It'd fail at your relationships with your family. So
yeah,
that is one of our greatest fears in business.
So we got systems in place to take care of us on that, to see the flowers blossoming at our feet while we're chasing the moon. You got to do the same. Anything else?
Yeah, I just want to add I was talking to my wife about someone who we were recently hanging out with. And I think this goes not just for people in business, but people who just in life in general. And this person makes 6 figures a year. You know, they have some success in the eyes of the world, but the thing that they don't have is they don't have appreciation for where they're at. They don't have appreciation and gratitude for what they've accomplished. And it's always whatever lack of accomplishment they have, you know, talking to this person, it's someone else's fault. It's their kid's fault. It's their lack of opportunity to go to college's fault. Like, it's always somebody else's fault. And if you are that person who thinks that way, you are never going to, quote, be successful. Like, you are setting yourself up for failure all the time for the rest of your life.
Yep.
So take a minute to be grateful, appreciate where you are, and even take responsibility.
1,000%.
1,000%.
1,000% is actually 1,000%. If you do the math.
I like that. I like that.
Thanks, bro. All right. See you guys.
Hey, go get the memos. TrappingFunnels.com/memos.
MEMOS.
Yep.
People rave about them. You're
That's
missing
it.
out. FOMO, fear of missing out. Let it take you to the bank.
Peace.
All right.